Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. Today we are going to start talking about three-dimensional figures and solids. So you can print this document on my website and follow along. It's the whole topic 11 guided notes. So if you print it, you'll be using that whole packet as we do notes for the rest of this unit. So feel free to print that, follow along if you'd like. Otherwise, just listen, answer questions as they come up. Okay, so today we're going to focus mostly on vocab because we need to know the vocab of three-dimensional figures in order to calculate volume and find different dimensions in them. So today, first let's look at prisms. A prism is a polyhedron, and a polyhedron is a solid made of polygons that has two faces called bases, and you name a prism by its base. So the bases are congruent parallel polygons. And we'll do some examples of naming prisms in a little bit. We have what are called right prisms. Okay, this is a right prism. The edges are perpendicular to the base. So notice this edge is perpendicular to this base. We have an oblique prism where the edges are not perpendicular to the base. So it's perpendicular outside here, right? And then the altitude is the distance between each base. I'm going to erase that just a second. The altitude is the distance between the bases. So these are the altitudes on those different figures there. Okay, now we're going to name these figures. So like I said at the beginning, you name a prism by its base. So this base, here's the base of this first one. It's the shape of a pentagon. It has 5 sides, and we said it was right because the edge is perpendicular to the base. So this would be a right pentagonal prism. This next one is an oblique pentagonal prism. All right, the base is still a pentagon. All right, let's look at a few more. So name the prism. So here we have bases that are rectangles, right? These sides here are congruent and parallel. So this is a rectangular prism. This next one, we have these congruent parallel sides. Those are the shapes of triangles. So this is a triangular prism. This blue one's nice. It names the base, so we don't really even have to guess, right? And these are the shapes of triangles. So this is also a triangular prism, but notice that height is outside here, and it's not perpendicular to the base. So this is an oblique triangular prism. All right, you try to name this last one. What would we name this last prism? All right, well, you should have said that this is an octagonal prism because the base is the shape of an octagon. All right, so there are some prisms. We also have some other solids. We have what's called a pyramid. It's a polyhedron with one base, which is right here, right? Its sides are lateral faces, and all faces and edges meet at a single point, the vertex, right? So all these other faces meet up here at the vertex. So I'm going to label that vertex. And this base here, all the sides are the same. It's a quadrilateral, so this is a square pyramid. All right, this next one, also a pyramid. It's meeting at a single point. The base here is a trapezoid. So this is a trapezoidal pyramid. We have this point up here where the lateral faces meet. So that's our vertex. This is an example here of a lateral face. This line right here where two lateral faces meet, that's an edge. And then down here, that's a base, right? Cool. Then we have cylinders. Cylinders are a solid with a curved surface and two circular parallel bases. So we see our circular bases here. So those are our bases, the circles, right? We know all circles meet at a center point and then are equidistant. The edge is equidistant from the center. That's called the radius. And then this dashed line that comes down is our height of our cylinder, and it's called the axis of the cylinder. Okay. And this is just a right cylinder because those two circular bases are right on top of each other, right? All right, last one is a cone. Again, we would call this a right cone. The altitude or the height is perpendicular to the base. And so just like a pyramid, this point up here is our vertex. We have a circular base, just like a cylinder. From the center to the edge of that is the radius. And then this dashed line here is our height. Great. A sphere, a curved solid that is three-dimensional circle. Spheres have a radius and a center, right? So think of a ball. Ball is a sphere, where this dot in the middle, that's our center. And this dashed line we see is the radius. Hemisphere. A hemisphere is a half of a sphere and its circular base. The circle that encloses the base is called the great circle. So on the bottom here, that's the great circle. And just like the sphere, this dot here is our center and our radius. Okay, and then the other term we have is polyhedron. A polyhedron is a geometric solid whose faces are made of polygons. So this, right, a polyhedron. So if it doesn't classify as a prism, a pyramid, something like that, we have to call it a polyhedron. And so this is an example of a polyhedron, right? It doesn't go into any of those other categories. So you would name it by its number of faces, right? And a prism and a pyramid, those are also polyhedrons, but you can be more specific with naming.